Hewlett from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Beverly Hills is beefing up police presence in an effort to slow a crime spike. Police Chief Mark Stainbrook blames the recent crime wave on what he calls a failure by officials to put criminals behind bars. A judge denied a request by the Los Angeles City Firefighters Union for a preliminary injunction preventing enforcement of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. The judge said that even if all of the 800 or so unvaccinated LAFD employees leave as a result of the vaccine mandate, the department has developed contingencies to ensure the safety of the public. The Rose Bowl game on New Year's Day is set. Ohio State will represent the Big Ten versus first-time Pac-12 champion Utah. Southland weather from KFI. Some low clouds and fog to start your Monday. Then mostly sunny skies with highs in the 60s and 70s. About a 30% chance of rain Monday night into Tuesday morning. Right now it's 48 in Buena Park, Irvine 52, Downey 50, and in Van Nuys it's 48 degrees. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Phil Hewlett.
Got a crash in Colton on the 215 northbound before the 10. That accident is off to the shoulder. As you make your way through Riverside, the 91 westbound at Madison, look out for a crash. And in Ontario as well, the 60 westbound at Haven, accident there off to the right shoulder. Still have a car fire working in Long Beach, the 710 southbound at Wardlow Road, that's off to the right shoulder. And in Santa Clarita, the 14 southbound at Via Princesa, you get a stall. That is blocking the on-ramp. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Dave Joseph.
Well, Mom, I'm lying under the tree to remind you that I'm the gift. And now, the top 5 reasons to visit Morongo. Number 5.
On our anniversary, you get gifts. Win a different gift each day when you earn 500 points on your rewards card Monday through Friday.
Number 4.
New Year's Eve hotel special. Get a room and 2 tickets for our ballroom buffet for one low price. Call 888-MORONGO now.
3.
17th anniversary giveaway. You can win $1,700 cash from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. playing table games with your rewards cards December 10th.
And the number 2.
Good Black Live December 18th. Get your tickets now.
And the number 1 reason.
Anniversary dining deals. Tacos at Fiesta Taco, coffee from Pink Coffee, or tots from Wahlburgers are only $1.70 each December 10th.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo. Good times!
Every year, our team provides food and toys for less fortunate families. Hello, my name is John Okoyan, owner of Rooter Hill Plumbing. I remember one Christmas when my dad didn't have any work, and we didn't have any money. I can still recall the look of shame on his face when my brother and I only had one present to open. I was a brat and said something I shouldn't have. To this day, I am still sorry for what I said to my dad. I was selfish and I wish I could take it all back. So I know what it's like for some families. At Rooter Hero Plumbing, we want to make Christmas special. So all this month, we are donating a portion of every plumbing and drinking service we do to families in need. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from our family to yours. Thank you.
CL 102-8886.
KFI AM 640.
Right here on KFI, I'm
Bill,
here.
I love you.
I know you do.
Do you love yourself?
No.
Thing is, I've always said there's 2 kinds of people in this world. People who have 0 or very low self-esteem and liars.
Bill Handel.
And that's it.
Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI. KFI, live and everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Some enchanted evening, you may seem a stranger. You may see a stranger across a crowded room. And somehow you know even then, that somewhere you'll see her again and again. Some enchanted evening,
everlasting will sing your dreams.
From somewhere out there, this is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
That'll bring back some memories to some of you, way back. We're going to take calls next hour with Karen Anderson as we talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Her latest book is called The Qumran. That's where the scrolls were found in the cave there, and Jacob's Ladder as well. ParanormalDate.com, cruising along, only 71 people shy now of 120,000 signed up members. That was my goal by Christmas. I think we're going to hit it and go over it. 71 people to go, and if you're over 60, what do we have, Tom?
Well, if you're 60 plus and Christmas is coming, what a better gift to give yourself than the gift of companionship. So we've got you covered there with paranormaldate.com/seniors for like-minded people that are 60 plus. So check it out. Have some fun. It's paranormaldate.com/seniors.
At paranormaldate.com, you meet the most fantastic people.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. What brings you here?
Yeah, I'm here to meet someone who understands me.
How so?
Well, I'm into UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, the paranormal, that kind of stuff. But can't seem to find anyone who gets it.
Oh, well, nice to meet you, Tom. I gotta go.
Okay, guess that's not your cup of tea. You sure?
Very. Good luck with that.
I can't meet anyone when I'm out, and I really can't find a website for my unique interests. What is one to do?
Have you thought about paranormaldate.com?
What? Who are you?
I'm a paranormal matchmaker, and it's paranormaldate.com. It's a website for people looking for people like them. Stuff you like, remember?
Interesting. I'll give it a try.
Well, let's try this again.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Deb. Your profile on paranormaldate.com looked very interesting. So you really saw a UFO?
Well, yeah. It was so intense, but not as intense as meeting you.
You're an alien chasing flirt, but I kind of like it.
Wow, this paranormaldate.com thing really works.
Maybe paranormaldate.com is for you. People with an interest in things they hear on George's show find their match daily. So if you're looking for that special someone with an interest in UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, and of course, the paranormal, come to the dating site inspired by George Norrie. It's always free to search, and if you decide to upgrade to our amazing new features, use promo code GEORGE for a great discount. Paranormaldate.com. You are not alone.
Real people, real stories.
I had acute eczema. I have tried every cream and ointment that you can imagine. It was pretty miserable. So I started taking Onivora, and at this point, I don't want to ever be without it.
Our little dog developed this lymph problem. The chemotherapy lasted for 6 months. He started developing more lymph nodes that were swelled up. So I thought I'd just try carnivora. The lymph nodes started to go down, swelling did. Then I took him into the vet to have him checked out, and there was no signs at all inside.
My cat had issues that developed in his eye, so my veterinarian said, you know what, just go ahead and remove the eye. I heard the carnivore advertising, so I said, you know what, I'm going to order this product and get all the tests. I kid you not, this product saved his eye.
Call 866-836-8735. That's 866-836-8735. Visit carnivore.com. That's carnivora.com.
Hey parents, here's some good news for America's future. Kids ages 5 to 11 are now eligible for a COVID vaccine. That means all those future CEOs and artists, the world-class chefs and the sports stars, the engineers and the innovators, they're all eligible for a vaccine that can help protect their future. And it's specifically formulated just for them. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temple Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They're proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Welcome back. George Norrie with you, along with Karen Anderson. Karen, the Dead Sea Scrolls, were they prophetic?
Yes, and I would like to answer that, but if you don't mind, I'd like to give one more point on what we were talking about before, because I think it will be important to you.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, when Ptolemy was addressed by Onias, he quoted that the prophet Isaiah said there should be an altar in Egypt to the Lord, and many other things did he prophesy relating to that place. But he didn't mention the many other things, and the thing is they happened. It said that God would send them a great God, he would free them, and there would be healing, and they would know that he was the Lord. And what happened is when Jesus came there, according to history, and they have a church built there, they showed the tree that he came under, it's petrified, and there's a great history in Egypt that, according to Wallace Budge, he went to the healing pool of Ra, and Mary washed his clothes, and it became a healing pool. The pool of Ra became a healing pool, and even a drop of it was called healing. And at that time, history records that the idols fell, demons came out of the idols, said that they fell because the Lord was there, and they knew that he was the Lord, plus the people rioted against those people who had oppressed them and caused them to serve these demons and these statues. So all of these things really happened. So these Satanite priests who placed these scrolls knew in fact he was the and it was the same man, Jesus Christ. He didn't come to be with their group until after he was baptized, but they had a group in Nazareth, and people say there wasn't even a city in Nazareth, but they did have an Essene group in Nazareth.
That is amazing technology and prophetic things, to be sure. But now, you have somehow tied in the Dead Sea Scrolls with COVID-19. Tell me about that.
Yes.
What do we have?
And I would love to tell you about that. There is a prophecy. It's written by the Christian prophet Paul, or the Christian apostle Paul, however you say it. And it's called the Samini Manuscript. And it states, in the latter days, new tidings of the gospel shall come forth out of Jerusalem. And behold, fountains shall be opened, and there shall be no more plague. Now, while I cannot guarantee that the plague mentioned is the coronavirus, I can explain the new tidings that he was talking to and show that they are to come forward now.
And what's the fountain that he mentioned?
The fountain, we've talked about a fountain. The Bible talks about a fountain. It talks about it in Ezekiel, that there's going to be a fountain that's going to come out from Jerusalem to the former and the hinder sea. It talks about it in Zechariah, and it says that it would be healing. And it also says that one of the things that tells us it's going to happen right now is it tells you that there would be pockets that would break out wherever this river would go when there's life. And right now, there are pockets breaking out from under the Dead Sea of fresh water having life. Now, keep in mind, if you even drink the Dead Sea, any of it, your people die from that. So this has no life whatsoever. And all of a sudden, out of what seems nowhere, pockets are coming up with living fish. So we know this is an event that's getting ready to take place. And Ezekiel, when he's talking about it, he's talking about it in relationship to the tribes returning and taking their territory. And that taking of the territory is based on a war that's supposed to come. And here's the thing is that in Isaiah 28, it talks about the water that's going to overflow the hiding place. And at that same time, it picks up on a discussion that the Apostle Paul spoke about at the same time that he made this prophecy.
Do you think this is a cure? Is this a possible cure?
He was quoting Isaiah. He quoted Isaiah in speaking where it says the waters will overflow. It's talking about this tried stone, the precious cornerstone, and Paul is saying in him. But then he goes on and he's quoting Isaiah 29, where Isaiah 29 is speaking of this message that's supposed to come forward, which would be this new gospel, and it's speaking of a message that's supposed to come forward to the drunkards of Ephraim, and more specifically to the rulers of Jerusalem, and it has to do with the faith. It says, well, surely you're turning upside down. Surely is seen as potter's clay. Shall the thing frame, saith he who made it, he hasn't done this. And then he said, the face of Jacob will not wax pale. And when you turn Jerusalem upside down, you actually see a side profile of a man's face. a satellite view looking down on Jerusalem, the full size of the old city, and it looks like a copper coin with Abraham Lincoln's face on it. The valleys form levels, and it's an absolute face. You can absolutely see it. Plus, it's diagrammed. When, for example, the correct place for the fountain gate is where the eye is located, the place, and it's called, the fountain gate means the eye of the landscape. Composer built the fountain gate, and it means to peer forward, see at the distance, and behold a vision, and this is what it's about, that Jacob had a vision, and we're supposed to see it. Now, the interesting thing about that vision is, as Isaiah is speaking of it, he says, it's like a dream or a night vision, and he's talking about this war that's supposed to come. That the war is like a night vision, and when you understand the vision of Jacob, he's speaking of the war in heaven that is supposed to come to the earth. And the 1-2 war scroll speaks of this war as a war of gods and men, our steps to the very steps, and Israel needs to know how to fight this. But Paul speaks of the same faith, and he implies that he knows the secret doctrine of Israel, the Zohar, because he talks about this faith in terms that the secret oral tradition of the Jews that was only handed down verbally, family to family, and finally has come to be written in this last 100 years where we could read it in English. And Paul is speaking of this faith as being two parts. He says, he quotes about the potter. He lets you know it's got to speak, and we were wondering how it's going to speak, and then he lets you know that it's two parts. He said, can God make out of this one day two parts? And he's speaking of Jacob and Esau. And according to the Zohar, this faith is supposed to represent Jacob and Esau. It lays upon a stone to commemorate the vision of Jacob, and that vision is what Qumran said was going to save Israel. They made a statement in the book, a scroll called The Secret of the Way Things Are, and he said they could not save themselves without the secret of the way things are. And he said, if you would unseal the vision, hear now what wisdom is. So to understand the vision means you're wise. Only the wise are going to understand the definition of what's getting ready to take place. And that faith is spoken of in King David's Thanksgiving hymns. He addresses it. He calls it a creature of clay, a servant, and a voice to lead the people in its way. And he also says, as this tongue is to receive this message, that the fountain of wisdom would go out, and that the fount would go out, the plague would stop, and people would be healed.
Interesting. But they didn't say exactly when that would be?
The timing for when that's to take place is in Jeremiah. As I read this, if I'm reading it correct, it's saying, when Iran receives smart missiles and begins to attack Babylon, that's when this message is to come forward. At that very time, it's spoken of in Jeremiah 51, it says there's a message, let us declare his work in Zion. He lets you know that it's about this day. Says the idols are being destroyed. He says the portion of Jacob is not like them. He is our battle axe. And then he lets you know that the people are going to say, where is Zion? So actually this message is supposed to come forward to the leaders of Israel, and it's supposed to come through foreign lips and another tongue, and they're supposed to say it is the truth when they receive it. And that's interesting because King David said of this faith, he said that it's a touchstone for truth, that those who are righteous will see it as a touchstone for truth, the unrighteous will see it as a worthless shard, that those that people will mock it, and of course we know Isaiah says, I warn you, lest you be mockers, and there is a way that this faith actually speaks. It's interesting to note that the word tongue also means, the word for porch also means tongue, and where the tongue would be located is where the temple is in this image, and you can actually see this image if you want. It's on my site, which is middiesnews.today.com, and the face, the altar was outside, and it had ivory, which was supposed to represent teeth. Then there was a laver that was supposed to represent saliva, the porch that would represent the tongue. The incense altar was made like and was supposed to represent the larynx, and the back was the oracle, which was meant that it would speak. And the Levites would sing upon the porch the songs of David. And the two songs of David in specific, the ones we talked about, the Thanksgiving hymns and the Song of the Sabbath Sacrifices, are addressed to the mastel, which means the viewer and beholder and instructor of the vision. And they instruct people, they are to instruct Israel of the vision of Jacob, and that vision is something that's seen within the celestial heavens in the New Jerusalem, that we see within the book of Revelation. It says the New Jerusalem is coming down. But the Jews say that it's in the heavens already, the walls will rise up to meet it. And it's something that you, if you are initiated, can see. The Masons call it the Salah or Salem, for there was no other word for pyramid. That Jacob's ladder was called the Salah or Salem, for there was no other word for pyramid. The Bible tells us there is a testimony in Jacob. And as this image begins to sing, he sings of the heavens and is able to declare that proof that God made it. He declares within the temple the 40 Yom Kippur offerings that are supposed to take place, 7 starmen that make the offerings take place. And within the royal psalm, Israel is told, you have many judges and you have many prophets, but if someone comes to tell you about the 7 spirits and you don't know about them, listen. And in the Song of the Sabbath Sacrifices, it talks about these spirits who are the princes, who are within this celestial heaven on sapphire tile work, offering the choicest of the offerings, and that would be the Yom Kippur offerings. And the kicker of all of it is the Great Pyramid is a microscopic of the celestial pyramid. It's also supposed to be built like the Mount of Creation, that is Jerusalem, and the Temple of Jerusalem is against the heavenly temple, which Jacob said he saw. In the Bible, we see that Jacob just has angels ascending and descending. But in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they have a scroll called the Vision of Jacob, and Jacob tells you that he saw the temple, and he saw how the priests would change garments and how they would offer offerings. And as you begin to realize with the Song of the Sabbath Sacrifices, it gives words for each one of the princes, and you can see the princes do all kinds of things. I mean, they cut off the limb of an ox, they mix the blood of the ox and the he-goat, and you wouldn't think constellations could do it, but when you understand the apparent travel of the heavens and what's taking place within it, you're able to see these things within the heavens, and everybody else is looking. None of the wise, wicked will understand, just the wise, those who have seen the vision.
Karen, who interpreted the Dead Sea Scrolls? Who deciphered them?
Who interpreted the Dead Sea Scrolls? Well, a number of the Dead Sea Scrolls are the Bible. So that would be whoever wrote those scrolls. Whether you've got everything but the book of Esther.
I mean, in modern days,
in modern days, who interpreted? I mean, we have many versions of the Bible. I'm not sure. Are you saying, like Allegro and the people who? Well, Allegro was one of the first ones, and he's the guy who made the Pope mad because he said it looks like this teacher that they have is looking a lot like Jesus. And the Pope told the other people, I think, that he said, he basically came so hard on it that all the other people, which most of them were Catholic, stepped away from it, and everybody just absolutely stepped away from this whole idea. But Christians now have come to take a look and say, come on, you give me a break. There's a thing called the redemption and resurrection, and it says, by this you will know the Messiah. And they tell you that he will heal the sick, raise the dead, just as he said. And we know in the book of Luke that Jesus healed the sick and raised the dead. And it says he will do things that have never been done before. And when Jesus did these things, someone said this has not been done before in all of Israel. So, Christian scholars are now knowing it's got to be Jesus. Who else could it be? But they also let you know that their Messiah died in 30 AD because they said within 40 years would be the destruction. And 40 years to the day is when they began to lay siege to Jerusalem. They also connect him, they say the Messiah is the one who comes after 62 weeks. And Jesus did exactly 62 weeks a year, 365 years.
And then this was written before him,
he
right?
arrived at that very time at the end of Daniel's calendar. So we know for sure that they were talking about Jesus.
How close do the Dead Sea Scrolls echo the book of Revelation in the Bible?
Very close. The book of Revelation Revelation is talking about Michael and a war in heaven, and the Dead Sea Scrolls is speaking of the majestic angel of Michael that will come down and light the covenant.
Do they talk about end times?
Who's the majestic angel of Michael that's going to come down and light the covenant? And the secret is that it's Orion. Orion is seen on two sides of the heavens, and the ancients in Egypt, they called that story Horus of the Two Horizons. And the story of Horus of the Two Horizons, it was written on two pillars in Heliopolis, and they were so sure that this was the story that Joseph knew, that they sent one of them to England to represent Ephraim, one to New York to represent America, and they connected it to that God so loved the world, he gave his only son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And when you unraveled it all, Wallace Budge said it's the same story that are the blessings that hang from the head of Joseph. And you have to see a star map in order to see. Now, I use the Greek zodiac because it has accurate star points, and they remade the zodiac that was the Egyptian zodiac, which didn't have accurate star points. But within it, you can see on my side, I have a film that if you push that link that's on your site, they can push my name. They're going to see a video talk about the blessings that hang from the head of the
We've got that linked up for you at coasttocoastam.com. We're going to come back and take calls with Karen Anderson next.
To access the audio archives of Coast to Coast AM, log on to coasttocoastam.com.
Let me try it again. This thing is, it's acting up. It's going to be good. Watch. Oh, never mind. Oh, here we go. No. Stand by. Gary and Shannon. I swear next hour is not going to go like this, I promise. Weekdays at 10 a.m. KFI.
If you're thinking about refinancing your home, or even if you've already refied it, it's more than worthwhile to contact HMS Capital. Mark Price of HMS Capital recommends you apply with his company, of course, and with any competitor at the same time. He is that confident he can get you the best deal. And I've known Mark for over 16 years, and I've done 2 mortgages with him. So I have no problem recommending HMS Capital. No appraisal or application fees of any kind. There's the HMS Challenge. Apply with another mortgage company and with HMS Capital. Call 833-255-5698, 833-255-5698. Interest rates still ridiculously low. Visit hmscapital.com, hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA Corporate Environment, Payment Limit, Payment Number 2427, HMS Capital Advising by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, license number 4130360, equal housing lender.
It's my favorite time of year when we gather with family and friends. I'm attorney Darren Kavanoki, founder of 1-800-NO-CUPS. And if you're celebrating with an adult beverage, then listen up. The right to remain silent only helps you if you actually remain silent. Field sobriety tests are optional, and 1-800-NO-CUPS is the number to call if you find yourself in unwanted handcuffs. 1-800-NO-CUPS, because no one looks good in handcuffs, not even Santa. 1-800-NO-CUPS.
By now, you've heard the news. Boosters for Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines are available. They help keep your immunity strong and help keep you and others protected against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. Let's keep each other safer and healthier this winter. Get your booster, and don't forget to get your flu shot, too. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Full bandwidth stimulation. KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. It's time for your morning wake-up call. And now, here's Jennifer Jones-Lee.
Good morning. How was your weekend? Did you go and find that warm comforter in the house that you haven't had on yet this season? and you're like, okay, now it is time to put the warm comforter on. Because I did. I also put up Christmas decorations over the weekend. Christmas officially pukes in my house, and now that I have this giant dog that can reach anything, I swear she can reach the ceiling. I think she climbs things when I'm not home, and I think she gets things off the ceiling. I'm 100% convinced. So I spent most of my weekend on a ladder because Sweet Dolly the dog, I love you, but don't you dare think that I'm not going to put my Snoopies up. So Snoopy's on a ladder all over the top of my house on the inside. Thank God I have these ledges. Oh, you guys, I'll have to take a picture because it's, my husband just said, I'm glad you're not afraid of heights. Yeah, that's great. Here's what's just ahead on your wake-up call. Heavy fog has delayed flights at Burbank Airport. Beverly Hills says it plans on increasing police presence because of a spike in violent crime. And former Dodgers first baseman Gil Hodges will be going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. 5:05 will talk with ABC's Jim Ryan. We are learning more about the teenager accused of shooting up a school in Michigan and some of the red flags that flew not long before the deadly attack took place. And who was it that helped his parents hide out before they were arrested on Friday? Lots to get into with Jim in just a few minutes. So let's start with some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Heavy fog has delayed flights at Burbank Airport. More than 60% were canceled, delayed, or diverted through early yesterday afternoon. Beverly Hills says it plans on increasing its police presence because of a spike in violent crime. This woman shopping on Rodeo Drive is all for it.
It does make me crazy because before that, we were getting warnings that it's nowhere in LA anymore safe.
Several of Beverly Hills high-end shops have been targeted in smash-and-grab robberies. Last week, the wife of well-known music executive Clarence Avant was shot and killed during a break-in at her home. 5 new officers will join the Beverly Hills Police Department today, and the city is adding more private armed security guards to patrol the streets. U.S. Customs in L.A. have been investigating a shipping container filled with over $30 million worth of fake designer merchandise.
Authorities found bags, shirts, and pants with counterfeit designer logos like Gucci and Louis Vuitton back in November. Officials say the container was shipped from China and that counterfeit goods like these are typically sold at underground outlets or on illegitimate websites. Inc.com says counterfeit goods, software piracy, and the theft of trade secrets cost the American economy as much as $600 billion a year. Andrew Carabella, KFI News.
Well, some parents of kids who didn't go or who do go to public school in L.A. have held a rally to protest the district's COVID-19 vaccine mandate.
They are being excluded, isolated, segregated, and shamed and bullied for a decision that isn't even theirs to make.
More than 20,000 students in the L.A. district are unvaccinated against COVID. They want to be put into an online learning program with no live instruction. This parent at yesterday's rally in Westwood tells KTLA that's unfair.
But they're going to mandate? They have a better alternative for these kids. Because the alternative that they have right now is just unacceptable.
The district says the mandate is crucial because learning on campus is best. 75 students at an elementary school in Northern California have been put to quarantine because a child who goes to the school tested positive for COVID-19.
We've learned that student was never reported to us, and the student has been attending school for the last 7 days.
Larkspur, Corte-Madera Superintendent Dyson says the diagnosis was a shock. Officials at the elementary school say they only found out the student had COVID because the Marin County Public Health Department asked why the case had